Hello, everybody. We should be live now. Let's double check in the live chat, but very excited all around, interested, intrigued about what next, about it next week. No, it's tomorrow, in fact, what tomorrow is going to bring. So once we hear a bit more from the live chat, I think we'll be good to go. And of course, we've been doing these prediction streams for about 6 weeks now. Actually, technically not six, because the first 3 episodes dropped at once. But no, we've been doing it for a while. And I'm first of all glad to have back is Jason, who you were on all of them for season 1. But of course, timings have been.
I know.
But you're back. That's the main thing.
I'm back. What was kind of just, week after week after week, you're like, hey, we're doing it here. And I'm like, I'm in Japan.
He's in Japan.
I'm on stage. I'm on tour in the state. Hey, I had good excuses for why I couldn't be here because I was literally on stage for some of them. But I made it. I made it for this one.
Glad to have you there. Glad to have you here, definitely. And maybe we'll see you again for the next week's on. We shall see. And of course, someone who's been on the channel very, very recently, we have Johnny from Melonheads. Always great to have you on. Of course, Dave's not here today, but you were repping the gang. So yes, hello, my friend.
Hello. Yes, good to be here. Yes, I am one half of the Melonheads. Unfortunately, Dave sends his regards, like the Lannisters, but he couldn't be here today. But I got drafted in, so I'm happy to step up to the plate and come on and join you guys again. I know I was here recently, so it's great to get the invite back again.
Definitely share the same sentiments too. And finally, last but not least, we have Ulmo. Hello, my friend.
Hey, yo, hello everyone. Thank you for having me again.
Always a pleasure to have you. And of course, we're going to be getting ready for episode 7, which is tomorrow. And as storyteller kicks off, I predict rainy weather. Interesting in Eregion. And maybe it won't be just rain, it'll be raining fireballs by the looks of it. So we will get definitely all into that. And don't worry, I am prepared for that because, as you can see right here. But in the meantime, I want to hear you guys' actual thoughts on. Oh, look, there you go. Shout out Johnny, my fellow Irishman. Yeah, they're
What's
from
up?
Chance. But episode 7 is titled Doomed to Die. So the first thing I'll start off with you, Jason. Doomed to Die. Of course, we know that's from the Ring poem. Do you think that could be specifically linked to anyone potentially also dying in this episode? Or do you think it's just more of a play on the Ring poem? What are your thoughts on this title?
Well, they've been really interesting with the episode titles this season because a lot of them have been obviously quotes from other areas in the books. Although I don't know if Where Is He was one. So did they deviate last week from that? But yeah, look, I think somebody's gonna die. I think maybe more than one's gonna die. But I'm assuming that 7 and 8 are the 2-episode Battle of Eregion that we were promised long ago. So is anybody gonna die in 7, or are they all gonna die in 8? I don't know. I feel like someone's gonna die with that title. But will it be someone of consequence, that a character that we've, begun to love? Is it going to be about Círdan's beard? I don't know. Is it my
Bring back the beard?
My bold prediction is that it's going to grow back. That Círdan's beard's going to magically like poof and grow back. That's why he was shaving it.
Jason, I've got a question. Would you ever use a seashell to shave your beard ever? Just like Círdan?
Never.
Fair enough. Looks like it's not a popular way of doing it. So again, I don't want to bring bad news, but unfortunately we won't be seeing Círdan again for the rest of the season, which is a bummer. But it looks like it's going to be focused again, as said, on Eregion. And Johnny, I'll put it on to you. Of course, we're talking about people who are going to die again. It's a 2 episodes, but storyteller says Círdan's beard already died. Fair enough.
Yeah, but, I'm saying it's going to grow back and die again.
It came back to life, just like Gandalf. Yes. So, do you think it could be one of the original characters? So, off the top of my head, what original characters are there in and around this battle potentially? We have Arondir, we have, I guess, technically Adar, we have Mirdania, the new Elvin Smith, and we have Selena Lode's Rian character, and we also have um, Callum Lynch's Elvin character. I think they're the only real main original characters. So do you see any of them
Sure.
potentially going in this episode?
Yeah, I mean, that's a definite possibility. I mean, if they're going to do something, they will kill off one of the original characters. They can't just be like, "Oh, we're just going to kill off Galadriel." Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I
Right.
know that they do kind of push the boundaries on the lore and things, but obviously we know that they can't do that. But I don't know. Every time I see one of the original characters, I just have in my mind this is either going to be like a Nazgul or it's the Witch King, or I'm always kind of going through that way. So I find it hard to think of original characters that they're bringing in to then kill off. But I mean, to be honest, I didn't even think about, as you brought up there, doomed to die. I didn't really think that it's going to be foreshadowing that someone's going to die in this episode. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it could be that, but I just was obviously more focused on the quote from the Ringverse. And also because it's not the first time that they've quoted the Ringverse. Was it maybe 2 episodes? They had the one that was called Halls of Stone,
Right.
which is also linked to the dwarves in the Ringverse. This one obviously linked to the men. So when I saw this title, my thought just went straight to, oh, maybe we're going to see the forging of the Nine in this episode. And I was kind of just caught up with that thought more so than actually who is doomed to die in this episode. But I like that as well if it is that going that way. And I agree with Jason that I think they've been doing quite they've been putting a little bit of effort into the titles of these episodes, and they've been kind of linking them nicely. There's been a couple of like double meanings in some of them. So I would be interested to see if they killed off someone like Mirdania, who has had a bit of screen time in the last couple episodes, and that would be quite interesting. So it would be nice to see an elf get killed off. Sorry, I don't want to say it's nice to see an elf get killed off, but it would be nice to see someone get killed off who we feel a
What?
more emotional connection to, that would be killed off, rather than the one random elf who got killed off by the Barrow Whites, who we didn't even get to know his name. I don't think. Maybe if you
No.
paused it on Amazon, you might have got to see the what's it called, the Amazon X-ray or something that shows you the name of the actor and their character. But I don't think his name was mentioned in the entire episode. So, yeah, I don't know. Is my answer. I think we'll have to go to Ulmo for the final prediction.
Take it away, Ulmo.
Yeah, people. I mean, it's a battle, so people are going to die. It's not gonna be fun if there's a battle without stakes, right? I think that's the biggest problem here. But I agree with what Johnny said, along with the Ringverse. I also was thinking more about the Ringverse itself. Plus, like, because for the last few episodes they were talking about creating the Rings of Men and the Nine and how important that was. So I think that's like a big piece. So it might actually just be like, I'm not gonna say a happy coincidence because they obviously did it on purpose, but it could be like a hint towards, okay, someone might die, and at the same time, the Nine might be mates this episode, which I think is pretty fair, a pretty good assumption, considering that we've seen, in the trailers, we've seen Celebrimbor throw the Nine in the fire in the forge, if I'm not mistaken, where it was like all beat up and stuff. So that could be like a mix of both.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. And I'm also even trying to find the clip that got released around. There was like a 2-minute clip of, I think someone mentioned here, Celebrimbor with the mice, and the whole thing going on within Eregion. So I will get back to that. I think that interestingly links to the creation of the Nine Rings. But yeah, no, I think again it's a battle as we're seeing right here, and again, as everyone's mentioned here, there should be casualties. But now getting into the actual battle itself, let's pivot to there for a bit.
Okay.
Jason, I'll start off with you. What is your anticipation, at least for the battle scale wise, shots wise? I know a lot of people do comparisons, Helm's Deep, Pelennor Fields, Battle of the Bastards. What do you think? What is your opinion? Would you want it to be like them? Do you want it to be, its own thing? Do you think it would be better? Do you think, of course, it's a comparison, maybe, for example, it is a two episode siege essentially, so it makes more sense to be more like Helm's Deep. But
yeah,
genuinely,
well, I look at it this way: like if I was the show's producers, I would be like, all right, I want it to be Battle of the Bastards meets, the Battle of Minas Tirith. So I think we're gonna see if they have their druthers. I'm sure they're gonna try to give us the best thing that they can. I mean, and from the shots that I've seen, I'm impressed. So I'm looking forward to quite the spectacle. I think they're going to pull out all the stops.
Did that look like a Mighty Ducks V formation that you just put up on screen there? If they go with that tactic, that could be a.
The Mighty Ducks, yeah. Shout out Anaheim.
Yeah.
It
worked on the ice. Why wouldn't it work on the battlefield?
What I will say is that some of my favorite moments of this entire series has been when there's been very little dialogue, when they show us, don't tell us, right? Like look at the opening of season 2 in episode 1. When they kind of show and aren't bogged down by a lot of the dialogue that we've been seeing, it's spectacular. So I think if they just really go for it and show, don't give us too much exposition, just let's see it. That's what I'm hoping it's going to be, and I think it probably will be.
Hope so. Yeah, I think even from some of these shots that we're seeing here, as you mentioned, like the moments, I think that's what needs to hit, the moments within this battle. And that's what made some of the other ones we've seen on screen in the past so great, especially the ones which are Lord of the Rings related. And Johnny, I'll pass on to you. Do you wish any of the characters in battle to have cool moments, or do you think they will? For example, maybe, of course, we've seen, actually, might as well pull it out now. We've seen this man in some armor. Do you think we'll see any cool moments from him with Aeglos or Elrond, etc.?
I think myself included, along with most Lord of the Rings fans, have been dying to see Gil-galad wielding Aeglos for a long time. We got to see like very, very small parts in the Lord of the Rings movies from a long time ago, but we want to see that just, I don't know, more fight choreography with him wielding that giant spear. I want to see, I mean, we've had all those promo shots for a long time of Elrond in his armor as well. I think the armor looks great. So I'm excited. I'm excited for some of the individual moments, but I'm excited with some of these clips where we can see that it's starting almost at daybreak, is when they seem like they're starting their charge, which was one of the images you showed a while ago. And clearly the sun is rising, and it seems like we're going to get a daytime battle, or at least a battle that it's going to be bright, because I know that Helm's Deep was an absolute masterpiece, the way that they shot that all at night. They had a bit of a blue hue going on which was reflected off, and it kind of looked like moonlight, and it was a perfect balance of a nighttime shoot, but also we were able to see it was just exactly everything that was going on. However, and you like contradict that with the battle, was it called the Battle of the Long Night in Game of Thrones? And it was like they kind of were going for the same thing at nighttime, using the firelight to light things up. And it was all, I'm pretty sure everybody tried to turn up the brightness on their television because they couldn't see what was going on.
Right. That was the night that everyone turned their brightness up.
That was it, yeah. The battle of the dark television. Yeah. So I'm happy to see that this is going to be one that they're not going to try and go down that route, and they're not going to try and say, okay, well, it's going to be dark and cool and mysterious. They're just going to show us what's actually happening, please, because we really want to see it. And it's been built up for so long, so I'm excited to see it. And I think there was a bit of a slow start to the season, and I think I remember watching those first few episodes and thinking, okay, I'm pretty sure they've just basically put all their budget and all their effort in these final few episodes. And if we can go off the last two, I think that it's been kind of just ramping up little by little. And Eregion has been the standout place for everything happening this season, and so I'm excited to just spend as much time in Eregion as possible for the next two episodes. And also Gil-galad, I think people need to see him kicking some ass on screen, because he's also a character that book fans, we love Gil-galad, and I think the amount of times I've spoken to people who don't know anything about the books or the lore, and their only introduction to this character is through this series, and they don't really seem to have any respect for Gil-galad. They're kind of going, yeah, he just seems like a politician, and it doesn't seem to be making the correct decisions all the time. And I want to see him like regaining some of that respect that the High King of the Elves should have.
Maybe this is the moment.
And
Hopefully.
And I think again here we're seeing him out on the battlefield with Aeglos. So hopefully again, redemption time for this man, maybe. Well, not even redemption time. Time to have him show himself off a bit, which will be interesting. And we also, let's first of all now, sorry, Uma, before we get to you, we'll go to some of the stuff from the chat. Mr. TNT says that he predicts around 20,000 orcs. Interesting. I think from some of the shots you can see here. Wouldn't be surprised if we see something on that scale and magnitude. Indeed. And going down, let's talk about this now. How will this scene will work out with Galadriel and Cage? Because let me almost put this together for you guys. So I feel like I'm about to do a little presentation. So we've got the charge, the V-shaped charge. We see them go in a bit, and as again in there you can potentially see someone in a cage. Then if we go in a bit more, of course this is the things we've got from the trailer so far. It's Galadriel in a cage, and then if we zoom in a bit, you can see it more close up there. So will this charge actually connect if they've got Galadriel in a cage? Because because we didn't hear from you, we start to you. What do you think of this theory? Look, so we know Galadriel is there in the battlefield, like she's literally sitting right here. Do you have any thoughts on this? Do you think they'll start fighting here, or do you think they'll wait because she is clearly been? It's almost like time to. It's even a negotiation point, kind of. What do you think, Ulmo?
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a difficult question to answer because there's like so many things at stake and at hands. On one hand, they could say like, I mean, it's only Galadriel. We need to save Eregion. It's like a bigger picture kind of thing. And at the same time, it's like Galadriel is also like one of the most, if not the most important elf in the current time. So, and in the story. So, I don't know. It's kind of a weird question to answer because I have absolutely no clue how they're gonna do it. I just hope that they're gonna do it right with a logical sense towards it. It's just like not like, oh, there's Galadriel. Let's just storm in there and YOLO it. Like there's at the end of the day they're still elves and they have strategies and they've fought for hundreds if not thousands of years beforehand. Gil-galad has some battle experience before as well, so they're not rookies just storming off into the sand and just trying to figure it out by themselves.
That's fair. And before we move on, Jason or Johnny, do any of you have any thoughts on this? Do you about Galadriel in the cage and this battle charge?
I do.
Go for it.
I wonder if she's being used as bait in the same way that in the Silmarillion there was a battle. And I can't remember the name of the battle. I'm sure one of you will remember it, where the forces of Morgoth brought out like the brother of one of the elven generals and like slit his throat in front of everyone in order to force the elves to charge early. Do you know what battle I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name. It's
Somebody in chat might know.
Yeah.
Was it Fane? Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
The clever thing that I'll give to the showrunners is they give nods to the Silmarillion when they can, right? Like with the rights that they have, they give nods to the First Age when they can. Even in Adar, Adar is supposed to be the first sort of merging of the first elf that was corrupted into an orc, right? And so even though you read about that in the Silmarillion and you read about that, you never saw it. No one was named that. So they gave us this character. I wonder if this is going to be a thing where they actually bring out Galadriel to try to entice Elrond and his forces to charge early. that's it, we'll see.
I like that theory. So
Yeah, that sounds cool. It could be. It could be, hopefully. I was going to just point out also one thing that I'm really liking from the images that we've seen so far is just the numbers of the people that are in this battle and just the size and the, I don't know, just the feel of grandness of it all, because I feel like that's something that this show hasn't nailed in previous times. Like even in the most recent episode when Adar revealed his army to Galadriel, he was like taking her on. He was like, "Look at my army," and I was expecting this kind of Saruman revealing the 10,000 Uruk-hai moment. And I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but for me, I thought that was very underwhelming. His kind of look at these orc camps that I have out here, and they were like lit by little campfires, and then for just from the high viewpoint looking out, it didn't seem that impressive. I know that the camera swung down later, and we kind of went through them, and we saw that there was quite a few, but it looked like it was lacking a little bit of, I don't know, just grandness and the amount of people on screen. And I've definitely in some of the Numenor scenes we've seen, it's been kind of like, I don't know, maybe they don't want to have too many extras. Maybe they don't want to use CGI to bulk it up a little bit. Here, it's looking like they're just saying, okay, we've got either so many extras or they're just, just beefing it up a little bit with CGI, which I'm all for in big battle sequences. I have no problem with saying, okay, just get a load of extras and then just multiply them and use what was the software that they had that they created for the films? Was it
Massive?
That's right. Yeah. So that worked perfectly for those. So I don't see why they shouldn't have something that's more developed. And I'm liking the image that you have on screen right there. It looks like a proper battlefield.
Well, I feel like I can answer some of that. I'm sure it's no surprise to me now because we're 6-7 episodes in that I have seen episode 7 and episodes a bit beforehand. And to answer that, of course, without it still being under embargo, I'd say the Battle of Eregion is smaller than Helm's Deep, in my opinion, but it is a significant step up scale wise and battle wise from season 1. Like it's almost like if you saw the Battle of Damrod in season 1 compared to this, it feels like it's a whole different show almost. So I would say in that regard, it is a massive step up, but I don't think it's, in my opinion, on par with and the battles from Lord of the Rings. I think maybe it's even things like, so they're doing the Lost Lines at some point. Maybe they're like, okay, we'll keep this middle range because then the Lost Lines will end up being, this massive major thing. So maybe that could be a reason, but I feel like I can answer that bit somehow. So, and also it's good to set expectations wise, just so people aren't going in there to expect, a crazy battle. But it is still, in my opinion, very good. And talking about very good, we have who looks like he is commander here. So who wants to take this away with Elrond? What do you expect from him in the battle? Anybody want to start off?
Sure, I'll go. Maybe this is where, he to the television viewer, this is where he steps up and becomes more of a prominent regal character. I mean, we know him as the Lord of Imladris and his lineage and everything else like that. And they seem to have downplayed that a bit in the show. So maybe this is the way the showrunners are going to show us his sort of character arc and becoming more of a leader and becoming the Elrond that we know from the books. I might argue that we should have seen that already. Even in season 1, he should have been more highly regarded, but I also understand what they're trying to do by showing his glow up, so to speak, and maybe this is his moment. Did I lose you?
I think we've lost your voice there.
Gary, I think you're muted.
it's never FOF stream without me muting myself. But what I was trying to, Thessel, thank you. What I was trying to say is that building off what you've said, it looks like, yeah, this is going to be his moment because we see him leading the charge here as they see the orcs retaliating back. And then, yeah, there we go. So he's going to be Commander Elrond. And as you see there, death to all our foes, or death to our foes. So interesting. And again, this was a very big shot as well of him running to the wall. And I know someone mentioned here, a lot of it was in the daytime. We see this at nighttime. So do you think this is almost like a pivotal moment within the battle? Because you see them almost leading a second charge, in my opinion, which I think is very interesting. So I'd say, okay. Samuel says Harry has already seen the episodes. Why are you predicting at all? Well, because I'm asking the questions. I'm asking. So it's
Yeah.
you know,
Harry's staying silent on certain things.
but maybe there's some little hints in there. So I'd say listen carefully. But yeah. So do you think this is almost? Does anybody think? First of all, yeah. Again, further thoughts that we're seeing Commander Elrond. Johnny, you think? You excited for this again? A character that I think needs to now show up in the season because it's been a bit, up and down for him, in my opinion. What do you think with Elrond so far in the season, and does he need to prove himself in this battle?
Yeah, it's a good question. I completely agree that I think Elrond has been a little bit up and down in this season. I think that after season 1, if you ask a lot of people, they would probably say that the standout characters and performances were probably between Adar maybe and also Elrond were two very, very popular choices, I think, in season 1. And I really like the way that he's being portrayed. Well, I love the... I'm forgetting the actor's name now. I can't believe it. What's his name?
Robert Armeo.
Robert Armeo, yeah.
Robert Armeo. Yes, I think he's doing a fantastic job with obviously what he's been given by the screenwriters. I feel like for some reason the decisions that were made so far in season 2 were a little bit contradictory to his character and what we know Elrond to be. So hopefully he just had like a moment of wavering and a little moment of indecision before, and he got a little sort of petty with Galadriel, and they were kind of, it's a bit strange, some of those earlier episodes, but hopefully this is the moment where they're gonna, as Jason said, give him his glow up again. And if they do, I'd be really happy about that, because I think he was such a good character in season 1. I'm really looking forward to seeing that Elrond coming back. And yeah, I'm excited for that. I was also going to mention that there was a cool shot that you put up a moment ago where we get to see, it's like zooming in on the orcs. They're standing, and the orcs that are standing in the front line of the battle, they're just, it's like the elves are about to charge into them, and the orcs are waiting to receive the charge, and they're not cowering away. They're just standing and taunting and like banging their chests, and it kind of evoked sort of a kind of a Braveheart kind of charge moment where they're not afraid of this oncoming charge from their enemies. And it looked really, really cool, and it looked like each of the individual orcs had their own character, and this one here where they're just they're almost encouraging the charge. And I don't know, there's something about that I like. I think it's very, very cool, and I think everybody will agree that the orcs is something that this show is doing incredibly well. The prosthetics look fantastic. You can see them there on the screen, and they just I don't know. I love that they're obviously given the direction to just be as menacing as you can. It doesn't matter. You can crouch down, you can stand up, you can wave your spear, you can stamp your feet, whatever you want to do. Just be menacing, be taunting, and try to, maybe they're trying to, I mentioned Braveheart a moment ago, maybe they're trying to do something like that to encourage them on, and then to spring a trap at the last moment. We've already spoken about Galadriel being there, so maybe that's to try and to push the charge to one side so that they don't charge straight into Galadriel, and maybe they'll spring a trap there. But there's lots of things to be excited for in this episode, or these 2 episodes. And as you brought up there, that we get this, I mentioned earlier that this looks like it's just becoming daytime at this moment. The sun is just rising, and as you mentioned just there, it seems like we get nighttime again later. And so hopefully this is just going to be a long, extended, drawn-out battle, and it's not just a quick over in a flash,
Mm.
kind of like what we saw in season 1 with that smaller battle. But I'm very excited.
And Johnny, I know you were mentioning earlier about scale and hoping it'd be, live up to expectations, but look at this shot alone. Look at the background.
That's exactly what I mean. And when I say scale, I don't mean it has to be on a level par with the Pelennor Fields or the Battle for Helm's Deep. I mean more just that it should feel like there's stakes and that there's a huge number. And like, for example, when we watch the charge at the Pelennor Fields, when we see those Rohirrim horses crash into the front line of the orcs, we can feel the weight of those horses hitting into these orcs. And I want to feel something similar. Now, again, I know, as we said, and as you mentioned, it's probably not going to live up to that, but who could live up to that? Howard Shore score leading the Rohirrim into battle for that epic charge. So I got to check my expectations sometimes and realize, okay, not everything is going to be that epic, but I'm ready for this to make me say, wow.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully it is, full of a lot of wow moments. And talking about potential wow moments, someone mentioned this interesting in chat, and I think this is probably the best photo to show this. It's potentially about the river and the dam. I want to see if I can find this comment, because essentially, while I try to find it, Eregion is surrounded by a lake. Here, it's looking like they're fighting on a riverbed. So I was wondering, Jason, have you heard this theory at all about that? The orcs will somehow dam the river, and that will allow the battle to start. What do you think of that?
I haven't heard that theory.
So, sorry to stop. If you can see, if you look at the back wall, you see it's a bit more dark at the bottom of the wall, then it gets light on top.
Right, and they're standing where they're standing looks sort of swampy and or a drained river. So yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so do you think we'll see them drain the river at all?
I don't know, Harry. Do you think we will?
We got to see what was that flash that we saw before of all of the, was it something in the Palantir? I can't remember, where we got to see all the fish that were kind of being piled up, and it was like a crazy vision. It was like one of the flashing images that we saw. And again, I think that had been theorized before that was something that was going to happen, because we just saw these. I'm struggling to remember now what that image was for, but I think we definitely mentioned that on a stream a little while ago, that we said that was possibly one of the techniques that they were going to go for. And it seems like here it's all but confirmed. And if that's the way it is, I think that's a really, really cool strategy to go with. So hopefully we will. Hopefully it's not just we're going to stick a sword in a stone and twist it, and that's going to block the river or something. Hopefully they actually have a more hands-on approach, and they just block the dam somehow. But yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It was actually the ring. If I remember correctly, it was the ring. He saw it when he touched his ring. The same way that Galadriel had that too.
Was it Galadriel or was it Elrond that had that vision?
No, Gil-galad had it.
Gil-galad.
Gil-galad had it. Okay.
Yeah, we've got an interesting theory here, but yes, I really want to see Gil-galad wielding his spear and maybe killing That would be quite an interesting thing.
Hopefully not. Hopefully the doomed to die. I know that we're all predicting possible characters that could be killed off. It would be a very, very big thing for Amazon if they were to kill off the character like Adar, and I really hope that they don't. Because I find him so much fun to watch. He was one of my favorite characters from season 1, and I feel like in the episode 6 that we just saw, I feel like that was the moment where the new actor has kind of really taken the mantle from Joseph Maul in season 1, where it's so difficult to come in and take over a role from a character that's existed before, and especially when he's one of those standout characters from the season. So I think for me anyway, in episode 6, it was the first time I looked at this character and said, okay, that's Adar. And I wasn't just looking at it and saying, that's the new actor who's taken over. I really felt in the last episode he was the character of Adar. So hopefully, long may he remain.
No, I totally agree with that. And again, all the pictures on screen are from episode 7. So we're definitely getting more adult, which is always a good thing. And maybe he again is not the one that is doomed to die. But I feel like we have forgotten one one original character in this battle, which potentially could end up being the one that is doomed to die. And I'm just trying to find the moment where we see him, or should I say it? Yes. Oh, we see a bit of him here. I'll see if anybody can spot who I'm on about.
Oh, Damrod.
Damrod himself.
Yeah.
And also, look at the size of him compared to everyone else.
Is
I know.
enormous.
Yeah. Let me find a better still of him. But
Did everyone watch the behind the scenes on his theme song?
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
of
yeah.
course.
So cool.
That was so awesome.
But yeah, what do you think? Do you think he'll also be almost used as like a tool in the battle? What's everyone's thoughts on Damrod as I pull up a better photo of him? Johnny, Jason, either one of you?
Did you say that they might use him as a tool?
Yeah, almost as like, he's their like secret weapon.
Oh, right. Like springing Glaurung, or
Yeah.
something like that as a secret weapon. That would, yeah. What, like maybe hold him back from the beginning and then kind of let a couple of sieges or let a couple of forces go through, and then maybe when the elves are starting to feel like they're getting the upper hand, just spring Damrod in and almost like kind of crush their spirits.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I kind of completely forgot about Damrod altogether. So this is even, that's maybe even more excited. So this is great. That's a great shot there as well. It kind of almost evokes that kind of the battle in Moria when we get to see hobbits, and then also Legolas at one point jumping from a height onto the top of the troll. So obviously Arondir is our acrobatic elf, and he's going to be, I'm sure, doing all sorts of flips above and on top of Damrod and kind of climbing all over him. We might get a couple of arrows shot into his head from on top position. But I think it would definitely be a good idea. When you said before use him as a tool, I was going to counter and say, well, I think he's clearly shown in the past that he is an intelligent troll. He's not like what we've seen in the Hobbit books, where in this case it seems like he's going to he knows his worth, and he's saying to Adar, like, look, I'm going to come and I'm going to fight with you, but only on my terms, maybe, or there's going to be something in it for him, it seems. So
do you think he asked for Sauron? Do you think he'll end up meeting him at all? And
that's right. What's the deal with that? What's Sauron done to him?
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. And one thing, again, talking about day versus night, there's been no battle shots of Damrod during the day at all. So maybe that's a little hint as to, maybe we will be seeing him at night, or maybe exactly. He's like the like the second half substitution almost. That's the way
I mean, although they show Arondir, jumping right in front of him doing this, so is that,
hopefully that's not death for Damrod.
I don't think they're going to kill Arondir, so we'll see.
Yeah. And isn't there a song called "The Last Ballad of Damrod"?
The Last Ballad of Damrod.
You're right. Technically, it is.
It could also be the first ballad of Damrod as well, because we were barely introduced to him.
Well, again, another one that hopefully we won't see die. And there's still a few more people saying, "Oh, I don't want to see this person die." Let me find it right here. I don't have a picture of her on screen, unfortunately, but one of them was indeed. Let me find it. I think once I found the comment, it was Mirdania. So people are worried that she's going to end up dying because they're starting to feel a bit. I think, John, you mentioned it earlier. Lost Shire Hobbit said it right here. People are going really fond of her because we've seen quite a lot of her in the last few episodes. So, what's everyone's thoughts again? I know we're going back to who's going to die, It's really hard to tell, but what's everyone's thoughts, at least on Mirdania? Do you think we'll see her survive this episode?
Well, I like how they use her almost as the audience in a way, because, we're seeing her, obviously seeing Celebrimbor acting strangely, losing his mind. Like, it all kind of goes back to, she was at least the show was portraying us that she was one of his main assistants, and now he can't even remember her name, right? And I think that they've done a really good job sort of having us empathize with her, but also we are sort of seeing Celebrimbor through her eyes. And I hope that she survives, but I also wonder if all of those Smiths might die. Just because Sauron's right there. We kind of know what's going to happen to Celebrimbor. I won't spoil too much for anybody that hasn't read the books or know the lore. So what happens to the other Smiths? Does he want all of that knowledge to be lost? Does Sauron want the knowledge to die with them so that no more rings can be made? I don't know. I'm worried about all of them, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I feel like her purpose has been served in Sauron's view once the Nine are forged. So yeah, I would be slightly worried for her character, even though I agree that I think she's done a really, really good job in the last couple episodes of just being quickly introduced to her and kind of feeling like we were getting to know her. And maybe, as Jason said, that's because almost like she's being used as kind of a window for us as the viewer. So she has been a welcome introduction. I think she's done quite well. But yeah, I wouldn't, if I were a betting man, I wouldn't bet on her sticking around till season 3. I think you're on mute again, Harry.
Sorry, I said again. I think that would be a mighty shame. And before we quickly move on, because I do actually no, we'll talk about it now, but quickly, Siamic's prediction or theories: are we going to see Ent save the day? Well, I think in a show that talks a lot of the time has reminiscent of the Peter Jackson movies. I think having the river be dammed and then have Ents come and save the day would be, quite interesting related to Two Towers. So I hope, in my opinion, I think it'd be so cool. But I feel like the similarity would be so strong. I just hope maybe the thing was something new, which would be interesting. And I think Scott's come in with a really astute comment that everyone will survive. So, so yeah, he's one of the leaders. You are correct. But okay. Let's talk about this was wanted to talk about. So we know despite all this happening, we still have our main man himself, Celebrimbor, still in Eregion, and he has to complete the 9. So I was wondering, do you guys think this whole episode will be around Celebrimbor having to finish off the 9 rings for men and almost Anatar forcing him to look? Even this is very interesting. I thought, finish the 9 and I will spare your city. So, first of all, I think it's fair to say that we don't think Sauron would ever actually follow up on one of his, potential, like, I will do this for you. I'd read out that. But what do you think, just in general, Celebrimbor and Anatar's relationship or partnership will be like in episode 7? Is it even a partnership anymore? Uma, we haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think? What do you expect to see from these two characters and their interactions?
I think that now that the orcs are knocking at the front door of Eregion, Anatar or Sauron or whatever you want to call it, it's just gonna be like, I actually don't give a damn about you, and you're gonna be my slave now, because that's kind of the entire thing. Now he has the strength of Anatar is that he always has a backup plan, and he always has a way of twisting things in his favor, and it's like playing 4D chess, and you're still stuck on the 3D one. So in this situation, I think that it's just gonna make it abundantly clear that I might save you, I might let you live if and only if you finish your 9 for me. So obviously we've seen in the trailer, because in the trailer that we've seen that was released, one of the first trailers that was released for season 2, he at some moment he says, "What have you done to me?" when he looks at himself in the mirror, Celebrimbor. So I think that's just going to be the moment where the whole facade drops, and it's like, yo, actually, I couldn't care less about you, and I've been using you. I mean, he might not even say it, but it's gonna be abundantly clear for him, because now he doesn't need to be the nice guy anymore. While he was outnumbered before, when it was just Anatar in an elven city, and Eregion was just like all happy and all smiling, that was a situation where
Mm.
he had to hide himself, to be a snake, as we know him.
Snake, yeah.
But now that it's not the situation anymore, he doesn't have to.
Yeah. I know I agree on so many different points, and I think let's even hear it from I guess about to say the snake's mouth. I know that's not the same, but I think it fits perfectly here.
I don't think we have the audio for this, Harry.
Pardon?
We don't have the audio for it.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'll get that fixed in a second. But anyway, we saw that this interaction. You can see that it's almost like it's gone past reconciliation. They're properly, properly angry with each other. And maybe do you think this is potentially Celebrimbor refusing to forge the nine?
I feel like we've gone past that point. I feel like we got that refusal the first time he asked him to forge the nines, and I was actually impressed how he refused on a number of occasions. I think on 3 different occasions he rejected Anatar. I feel like at this point Anatar is so in control of Celebrimbor, and we've seen what they've said before in previous things, that once he bores a hole and the rest of him slithers in, was the quote from last week's episode, which I thought was fantastic. And I feel like that's kind of the way that they're saying. It was also the warning that was given by Gil-galad to Galadriel earlier on, that once he is kind of seen, once you've had this kind of face-to-face with Sauron, once he's seen your weaknesses, he can just basically get a complete hold of you and you can't escape, I think is what they're going for. So he can just create these illusions, he can build this fake world. And I just think that Celebrimbor in this episode, he's just going to basically not have any kind of, he just won't have any way or will to fight back. There'll be nothing left in the tank, really. He just is going to be, his mind is going to be completely dominated by Anatar. And well, maybe there's going to be a little bit left in the tank, as we saw there. It was saying complete the 9 and I'll save the city. So maybe he is trying to fight back, but he's on his knees, it seems. And hopefully he looks like, in that image that we're looking at there, he looks like a shell of his former self. So I'm not sure what's going to come, but I'm really excited to see the 2 Charlies on screen again, because they've just been absolutely the standout of this season so far. They've just been so fantastic. So any more time we get with these 2 characters coming face to face is going to be good.
Definitely. And one thing, just to build off that, finally, I have found the video after 50 minutes of looking. So just to see this, I think this is one thing we're definitely seeing in the next episode, because this essentially is Celebrimbor realizing that he is basically in a dream mode, because we see this again, this mirror, and he almost he's confused. Like, he's basically saying that, the Feanor's hammer is losing a jewel. Like, he's going crazy. And again, if you look at the candlelight, the wax is not going down at all. So it's 24/7 burning, which of course is not possible. So I think, we're going to be seeing, I think the first part of the episode could potentially be, or at least the first part, he has to realize that his own city's getting sacked, because right now he cannot see this at all. So I feel
Sauron needs to render his illusion a little bit better to get the wax running down the candles.
Indeed.
Right, he needs another Inception. He needs a better Inception artist. But you probably talked about it in another episode, but I will say I really loved that scene, how they showed Sauron completely manipulating his mind, opening the door, seeing the children playing and the sun shining, and I love the elf dog. The the elf pet of I think that was like a wind hound or like a Lhasa Apso or something, very elf-like dog. That in that whole scene when he shows the serene Eregion, everything's fine. I thought that was fantastic.
One thing about that dog is that dog is also seen in Numenor. So it looks like that. If you go back, I think it's episode 5 or 4. vibe. If you look in the background, walking past, that breed of dog is like I said, a continental Middle Earth breed of dog. It's
I
an
guess,
Eregion
yeah.
and
People just love their sight hounds, I guess.
yeah, exactly.
I love
So
your attention to detail, Harry. Fair
yeah.
play.
And talk about attention to detail. I think I meant this before. They spelt Numenor, or they had the wrong
That's right.
accent for
Yeah.
Numenor in one of the episodes as well. But
Oh, what happened?
yeah, so you know Rune, it has let me
The little
Yeah.
triangle thing, they use that
Mhm.
instead of the accent over Numenor.
so
think.
basically the editor for the Rings of Power had probably copy and paste. They did Rune first and copy and pasted this part, the U, and copy paste it onto Numenor. So they essentially, and this is a really weird way of showing you guys, but Numenor is spelled like this at the bottom left in the first time we see it. So now, if you're eagle-eyed, you can go back and oh, by CMX says elf goat, but yeah, that's just another side thing that we're able to catch. I don't know why, out of all things, catch stuff like that. But, it's funny things. But
Did
now,
they go back and fix it?
probably not. So yeah, it's always there. But I know a lot of people mention the dwarves, and I think I even saw a comment in chat say, "What of Galadriel escapes to the doors of Durin?" That is very particular. That's very niche. That's a very interesting comment that you've been randomly been able to what's it called, but you see them here. Friends reunite. Do you think we'll finally see I Need Your Old Axe Friend again? Johnny, you mentioned it. The two best parts of season one: their relationship, their collaboration, their friendship. Old friend. Will this finally be the moment you think Elrond calls for his aid? And will the dwarves answer? Is the big question. What do you guys think? Do you think the dwarves will be involved in the Battle of Eregion? I think we'll go from Jason down to almost. Jason, I'll start off with you. Do you think we'll see the dwarves fighting at all?
Well, okay. If this is really going to be a 2-episode battle, I bet you we see them in episode 8. I bet you they're sort of the last ones to join the battle. That would be my prediction. But it might be interesting for Galadriel to escape through the doors of Durin, come out the other side, and find this woodland area that she just magically falls in love with. And what do you know? I mean, it kind of is what happened somewhere in one version of the lore, or not. When she discovered Laurelinde Lennon or something. I can't remember
Yeah.
the original name. But that could be interesting. Setting up for season 3. Who knows?
Definitely. And yeah, Light Blinded Fool says the dwarves will save Elmont and Galadriel after they retreat to future Rivendell. That's almost an opposite version of yours, where one goes to the future Lothlorien and the other one goes to the future Rivendell, because they both, end up leading those kingdoms. So we'll see. We'll end up seeing who was right and which one they go to first. So interesting. But Johnny, with you, first of all, are you excited to see these two characters reunite?
Yes, of course. And yeah, as you said before there, that season 1 was almost built on that relationship between Elrond and Durin. They were fantastic on screen together. I think the couple of times in the series where I kind of nearly welled up and shed a tear was whenever these two guys were on screen, and they were the relationship was so strong. So I really I'm looking forward to seeing them two together again. I think I don't know what could happen here. Maybe Elrond comes to Durin and asks him, for his help in this battle, and I'm imagining that King Durin the Third is not going to want to do that at all, because he's just going to be saying, "No, we just need to keep on digging. We need every axe that we can get our hands on to keep digging." So I'm imagining that would cause a bit of a conflict between Prince Durin and King Durin. There'd be a bit of a standoff there. What could possibly happen is that Prince Durin could disobey his father, and he could take a small regiment of dwarves and go off and join the battle. And I agree with what Jason said, maybe in episode 8, in kind of like battles are normally shot where there's waves. There's like, okay, we have this wave of, okay, we're winning. Oh, this is going really well. Oh no, they brought out Damrod, the troll, and now we're losing. And then, oh, look, this is happening. So there's always these like to and fro's and this kind of constant sway, which is just a really good way to write a battle sequence. So I think the dwarves coming in towards the end and kind of pushing that kind of back, the pendulum back in favor of the good guys, I suppose that would be a really, really cool way to see it, to do it. And who doesn't want to see dwarves in battle? I mean, that would just be fantastic as well. So yeah, I think I would love to see it is one thing. Will we get to see it is another, but hopefully we will. And if Elrond is coming and he's asking Durin for this, like, I need you, old friend, I think it would be very hard for Durin to refuse.
Right.
Definitely. And
I'm with you, Johnny. I think what happens is Prince Durin takes a faction of dwarves with him at the behest of King, or at the protest of King Durin.
Yeah.
And to add on to what you guys have both said, this still is from episode 7. So and it looks like they're at the bottom of the mines. So, and I think Johnny, you might have mentioned the digging deep stuff. Of course, King Durin wants that to continue. So do you think there'll also maybe be a face-off between them or something? Is that what you think's happening here? Ulmo, or Johnny, Ulmo, whoever.
Sorry, no, Ulmo, you go ahead.
Oh, I thought I needed to answer about the whole battles thing.
Oh yeah, go for that first. Yeah, go for that first. Sorry.
Yeah, so to answer that, I agree with what Jenny said, because a battle is just straightforward. That's just like we fight and we win, and it's just one-sided stomp, so to speak. It's just like straight up boring, no matter what it's one side for the good guys or the bad guys. And in a way, a battle is literally a story within a story, and that's the thing that makes it so complicated to make it right, because you need to have like small wins, small losses. If you compare it, we're gonna keep on comparing it to Helm's Deep, of course, but like Helm's Deep, a good example of the way that they made it, because Helm's Deep is like a 38-minute sequence. And if you compare it to Helm's Deep, the thing that made it so interesting is that you saw like small victories. So, for example, a very stupid example is like the skateboard scene, or when Aragorn and Gimli they managed to hold off at the gates, and then you see also like equal losses. When the kamikaze Uruk-hai just jumps off and blows up the bridge, or when King Theoden gets hit by a spear, and all of those things. So to me, that's like a very, very important thing. And of course, I agree that they're not going to come up with like a whole legion of orcs of dwarves. I mean, orcs, dwarves, same thing, right? Working. But no, I agree that they're gonna come eventually, and they're gonna try and defend their friends and try to fight it. But I think, like Johnny and Jason both said, Durin the Fourth is gonna do it without the blessing of Durin the Third. Because we see also in the trailer there's like a small segments where he says we need to fight for our friends or something like that, and he's like hyping some dwarves up, and I can already imagine like the next shot being during the third being like, oh my god, this guy's like, I'm gonna beat his ass. So I think that's how it's gonna be.
Fair enough. And so I think my conclusion from that is that we're going to be seeing Gilgalad do some shield surfing. I think that's
actually just when Ulmo mentioned that skateboarding or shield surfing, as you've called it there, that just reminded me of that scene in Helm's Deep. And when we just something that I'm going to be looking forward to, because thinking of that moment now, I'm not saying I want to see elves basically shield surfing, but when Legolas does take that shield and throws it down the stairs and slides down, we get this small break from this tense music that's building up, and we get the motif of the Fellowship that just plays out for that short 5-6 seconds while he's sliding down, shooting arrows. We get that just triumphant and I'm really excited about the music in this battle, because Bear McCreary has just been absolutely killing it season 1 and season 2.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying everyone should really look out for moments where Elrond takes the forefront. You're going to get that Elrond theme coming through. We all know that Damrod and his metal theme, that last ballad of Damrod, we should be expecting to hear that at some point as well. So when you're watching this, like, just really be expecting to hear all of these different themes of these different individual characters coming through as well. Hopefully Bear McCreary, I'm sure, well, I know he's up to the task of being able to blend those through seamlessly. So I'm looking forward to watching this battle many times and maybe just closing my eyes and listening to it.
Well, I will say, in my opinion, my favorite part of the battle was the whole Damrod stuff and everything went down with that. I think that was the coolest battle moment, in my opinion. So I think, yeah, just a little excitement for tomorrow.
Awesome.
I say wait for that. I think that is, again, I think lives up to a lot, of course, of Johnny, what you're wanting to see as well. So yes, I think we've covered that a lot, and I think we've done actually a very good job. So unless before we move on to again what's going to probably end up being the most controversial part of the episode, I'm not sure how many of you guys know about Morphy Clark teasing a kiss during San Diego Comic Con, a quite interesting kiss. So it looks like in episode 7 is the episode where, well, before you go into that, I thought this little promo shot in general, it's pretty cool. It looks like it's just it's whole separate thing. That's one of the dwarven rings, but no, I really like it. But sorry, as I find the image here, I'll also give some preface to this. So I'm not confirming whether or not it is this scene alone or not, but yes, as mentioned, there's really high, and I guess from other people who watch all 8 episodes from episode 1, 2, and 3 came out, it had already been leaked that in episode 7 there's going to be a controversial kiss. So again, already the reason is out as to why the kiss happens, but of course that's like leak spoilers. And no, funny enough, I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, so again, I'm not going to confirm either whether it involves Galadriel or not. But first of all, Jason or Johnny, even Norma, have you guys heard about this kiss at all, or is this the first time you're hearing about it?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I read something somewhere on a tweet somewhere, but I don't even want to repeat the tweet in case I'm wrong. So
yeah, well, there is quite an interesting kiss in episode 7. So I think that would be the thing that will be one of the most talked about things alongside the battle. So anybody have any? I didn't confirm anything because again, nothing more confirmed than what anybody else has said. So there's thoughts. Anybody have any ideas who it could be with at all? I know there's been lots of speculation on Twitter about whose hand this is. There's been so many. I've seen this as Charlie Vickers' hands, of course, Sauron. I've seen this as Elrond's hand, or Baromir. I've seen this as even Adar's hand. You know, like even though it'd be weird being Adar's hand. Samuel says Damrod kissing Adar. Again, could end up being maybe
that's what I want to see.
That's what's motivation to go into battle. That's the deal. You have to give Adar a kiss in order to go in. But yeah. Ulmo, does anybody have any theories as to what the?
I mean, it would be very, very controversial. To answer your question before, I didn't know anything about this controversial kiss. I had been told that there was a very, very controversial moment in episode 7.
That is,
but I didn't hear about what it entailed. So I haven't really thought about this before. But I mean, the obvious choice, if you were writing this story and you didn't know anything about the characters, it seems like the logical thing would be for it to be Elrond and Galadriel. Now, I think that would be a bit of a crazy decision, but as I said, just from this, as in if we just ignore everything we know about who Elrond eventually marries, that's kind of like the way that this typical story would go from just from a showrunner's point of view and just like writing the story. But I can't really see any other logical candidate in this moment apart from Elrond, really, because obviously they were very, very close in season 1. They were like best friends. Season 2 started out and there was more bickering and arguing. And I remember thinking that they were getting quite angry and on each other's toes about everything. And I think we had a guest on one of our episodes a few weeks ago, and they were saying how who do you bicker and argue with more? It's kind of almost like people that you're closest with, people that you love, family members, partners. You very often you can have these little arguments with those people as well. And they've said that in their opinion, they were kind of almost getting Elrond and Galadriel to be even closer than they were in season 1. So yeah, for me, that seems like a logical one. For, as I said, I don't agree with that as an idea at all, but I can see how that could be. I can't see her kissing, I don't know, Celebrimbor, for example, or I don't know who else it could possibly be. You're mute there, Harry.
I think this is like a record of how many times it's happened. Sorry, it's because I was doing this in the background. What happens, Johnny, in the scenario that, again, it's not Galadriel, because it could easily not be her?
Okay.
Who do you think it could be then?
Jason, any thoughts?
It might not be?
Pardon?
You're saying it might not be Galadriel kissing someone?
No, I'm saying in the scenario that it's not Galadriel, the kiss does not include Galadriel. Who do you think could be the controversial kiss? The two characters.
You're giving me hope that it's not Galadriel and Elrond. That's good. I don't know.
Damrod. Okay, I'm going to go with Damrod and Beric. There we go. I just saw that on the screen.
Arondir's the big kisser. He had his kiss in season 1, so maybe he's that was just warming up for season 2. Maybe he kisses an Ent. I don't know. Who else could it be? I don't know. What, anybody in the chat, have they got any clue? Celeborn. I could see someone saying that would be a welcome. That would be a real. That would be a real welcome sight. I don't think we're going to be getting Celeborn in this season, though. So, I don't know.
Yep. That's one. I think this question: prefer Galadriel kissing Elrond or Sauron? That's another interesting one. Damrod, her name is Derek. What great from you there, Dave. I think from the earlier one, Lightless Receptionist says that she doesn't believe the background means it's Elrond, because that's the thing. It looks like it's in the Dwarves.
What hand does Adar wear his
left
glove on? So maybe he takes the glove off, and that's his elf hand.
Wow.
I would be okay with Adar kissing Galadriel, because like it wouldn't be Elrond kissing Galadriel, his future mother-in-law. So I would be more okay with that. I would be like, okay, this is weird, but it wouldn't gross me out as much.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
I think that's
I agree.
Yeah, I think the other one is, someone mentioned there's Sauron and Mirdania, because what have they been doing this season? I think
again, I'd have no problem with that. That'd be fine. If there has to be a controversial kiss, go for it.
That's fine.
Yeah. I think even the show posted at one point something like his perfect likeness. That's what her perfect likeness. That's what
that's what he says to her about that she's the perfect likeness of Galadriel. Yeah.
Well, so interesting to see.
Wow.
Interesting to see who it could end up being and who with. I think it's going to cause a lot of drama and discussion tomorrow, anyways. And I had this really reminiscent me. I'm not sure if you remember, Jason, of the episode 5 predictions. And but in season 1, I hadn't watched the episodes beforehand, but I had it leaked to me about Silver Mithril just the day before. I'd seen a snippet of it, and I was like just telling everyone, get ready for tomorrow, because that's when all hell's gonna break loose. But I feel like this could definitely be up there with all hell breaking loose. So,
oh boy.
So I'm gonna
they really can't help themselves, these writers, can they? They want to be controversial.
Well, my opinion on it, again, I'm not going to give as fine line I can reach, but in my opinion is that it's not really needed. In hindsight, I think it made not really much sense, but I think with context, it's not the end of the world. So that's the way I'd leave it for now. And this comment here says, I I'm okay with the soap openness of a Sauron kiss, but I never said I had great taste.
I like Charles Joshua's comment of saying Sauron kissing anything other than his own reflection would be controversial.
That's pretty good.
Maybe he.
Hey, listen, if it's look at it this way. Remember the Luke and Leia kiss? You know, if it's a quick one or something,
yeah,
and it's Elrond and Galadriel. I mean, I guess it's not the worst thing ever, but
or when you said Galadriel and Adar, it could almost be that she's still in captivity, and he's kind of just showing how dominant he is in the situation, where he's like, "Look, you're going nowhere," kind of thing, and she has no kind of, or as maybe she's like trying to trick him to get out of captivity. I don't know if it's something like that. Yeah, again, that could be fine, but I don't know.
Interesting.
Well, the way Harry's speaking about it, though, I don't think it's going to be just like, oh, that's fine, whatever. It feels like it's going to be
sounds like we're not going to be fine.
A juicy one. We're not going to be fine.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think episode 7 for me, it feels like it's the episode that the 2 seasons have been leading up to. Like this is it now, and in the sense that because season 1 it was the setup season. Now this is the start of the battle. So, we have to, I think it's going to be an exciting one tomorrow. And as just mentioned in the comments here, my thing is freezing, but Gil-galad kissing Aeglos, orc style bloodied blade. Interesting. What's it called? Aaron R says, don't you make it obvious Elrond when he frees Galadriel from the cage and she thanks him with a kiss. It would have been funny if it was that.
I know it. It's going to be the Stranger and Tom Bombadil. Done.
Maybe that's how he controls the secret.
The Stranger and his staff.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I love how like even the Harfoots are calling him the Stranger now. It's like, come on, man, tell us the names of these people. But I just think they're just never going to tell us the names. That's the whole point. We'll never know that they're Gandalf and Saruman, even though they're clearly Gandalf and Saruman, but they're not. So we'll never know.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have to see. Light Blinded Fool says, way to have it, knowing Poppy. Well, Poppy looks like, she's distracted at the minute. So, and then Listless Reception says, there's been too many Hobbits already. And Isildur and Beric open.
The chat's going off now.
Yeah. But I want to say the chat's been very funny today. I'll give it to you guys today. You actually be a lot of funny ones.
Chat is great.
The FOF chat. So yeah, appreciate everyone in chat with all the funny comments, because I'm sure we're going to need some fun before tomorrow anyways. But Charles Joshua says, really off topic here, but are we going to see Isildur before this season is up, or is he off somewhere shoving ice cream in his mouth after saving the guy with the guy he likes? I think that's actually a very good way to put it, and there's of course a different term for that, and I won't say on stream, but I'm sure a lot of people know what term that is. So yeah, the girl he's really liking at the minute is has got a husband, so it will be interesting to see how that pays off. Actually, really good question. Do you guys think we'll see him at the battle, or do you think we'll see anyone else on Pelagia like Theo at the battle? Any thoughts?
I don't know if they'll be at the battle. Maybe they'll be there later. But I don't know, because they're really loose with geography here. They keep making us think that you can just walk places quickly. So who knows? Maybe they will be at the battle, or maybe they'll observe it and get there afterwards or something.
Interesting. Johnny, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know if they have any reason to be there. I don't know if it would make a huge amount of sense for them to kind of just stumble onto this battle that's between the orcs and the Ents, and for Isildur just with these like random men who, let's face it, are not really going to be a huge addition to these elves and possibly these dwarves that are going to be way stronger, way more prepared. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like to see that just for the sake of, Isildur, he's going to be a big character going forward. Let's just throw him into a battle sequence so we can have people think that he's cool. So I don't know. I think it could be a bit forced if they were just to show up. Also, they don't know that there's a battle happening, so why would they just decide, hey, let's head for Eregion? So I don't expect to see them. No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Uma, you thoughts on Isildur?
I don't think we're gonna see him. It would just take us away from the action, I think. So that's just about it. Really, it would just be him staring at the distance and like looking at Astrid with a tear in his eye and wishing it would be him. But that's it, I think.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, and sorry, one thing that I've totally seen, which is absolutely hilarious, again with the chat today. Oh, Bombadil, show me the secrets of the secret file. You can see on there. So again, maybe it is between them two. And again, I know this is episode 7 predictions, but I think that's a good prediction for the future of the show. And I feel like, yeah. Guys, are you all three of you excited for tomorrow then?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Especially
great.
after talking it through with you, gents.
Definitely. And I hope everyone is also in chat really excited for episode 7, which is shaping up to be a very, very big episode. And I want to first of all thank you everyone in the live chat for joining us today. It's been a really fun discussion. And we'll see you again afterwards in the post discussion for episode 7. CMX says how many minutes the battle will be. There's actually not a crazy amount of time of actual battle in episode 7, because the first half of it, if not first half, the first bit of it is again, not getting into too much, there's lots of Celebrimbor and Anato interactions still. So, but it will be fun. Trust me, the stuff you see of it, you'll get people excited. Thank you, Storyteller, for the stream. Charles Rushworth, grueling night watches. I understand. But yeah, I think. Oh, Christina thinks I don't know how Sauron is doing the kiss schedule. Oh yeah, there's no one's sad about Celebrimbor. I think we'll wait a bit. I think we still got some time with him. I hope so. I think we can.
I'm definitely sad. I just didn't want to spoil it for people that don't know what's going to happen to him.
He's going away to live on a farm.
Yeah.
He's going. Everyone's so sad about Celebrimbor getting deceived so much by Anatar. Yeah, it's a very sad thing. But I think it's been a very good discussion, very good stream today. Jason, I want to first of all say thanks to you for coming on again, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm so glad I could make it.
Definitely. Hope you had fun. And Johnny, again, thank you for coming on as well, even last minute as well. Appreciate that.
Thanks as always for the invite. It's always fun.
Indeed. And of course, Umo, great for you to join us again.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Definitely. And again, thank you to everyone in the chat. And I think we'll end it with this: someplace with lots of flags. I think that is where we're headed. Well, not we're headed. Someone is headed. So we'll leave you guys with that. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and consider joining our Patreon if you want to. And we'll see you